Good afternoon, friends. I'm here to do a short presentation on Sequoyah. I got this idea from the philosopher analysis assignment that I did in my doctorate program. My name is Adam Wallace. Here we go. To start off, the significance and impact of Sequoyah, from a philosophical and historical perspective. We'll be going over both of those, and I'll kind of give you my own perspective on each of those as we go through. So, a little historical context. If you don't know who Sequoyah is, also known as George Geist, he has some other names as well, as also his Cherokee name. He was a Cherokee silversmith, a warrior, traveler. He served in the military. He's done lots of things throughout his time, but most famously, he's known as the inventor of the Cherokee language. It's a writing system specifically for Cherokee, which is a Native American tribe. He lived during the early 19th century in areas like Tennessee. At the time, it was called different. Um, During that time, the Cherokee Nation, they were facing lots of pressures from white settlers, whether they were just regular people or for religious purposes, the government, essentially to give up their land and either live, die, or assimilate to American culture. The philosophical significance to Sequoyah, he created that syllabary that holds the philosophical significance and its implications for language, identity, culture, education, and the resilience of indigenous people. It invites us to consider the role of language in philosophy and the broader context of culture, diversity, and preservation. So I took that on the next slide and I broke it down into 5 different areas: language and identity, cultural resilience, philosophy of communication, education and empowerment, and cultural and linguistic diversity. So between those 5 things, and I kind of detailed them there for you, to why Sequoyah has a philosophical significance. Perspectives on his work. Uh, the supportive perspectives, they highlight his contributions, which we already talked about. It's that the language, the alphabet, essentially, that he developed for Cherokee people. It became a way for them to keep track and document their culture, essentially. There are some supporters. For example, scholars like Robert K. Thomas, he also commended Sequoyah's efforts, stating that his work revolutionized Cherokee society. Historian Grant Foreman stated that the invention of the syllabary was the greatest single achievement known to the Cherokee people. There are some opposing views to this, mostly around efforts and perspectives that argue that his work in creating that led to an assimilation of Cherokee people and Western culture, and that some indigenous tribes, they express concerns about losing traditional Cherokee ways, systems, and erosion of specific culture, because there was many different tribes. Whereas once the creation of one single Cherokee alphabet was created, then they all kind of formed underneath that. So just leave you with a quote from Sequoyah: "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children." Essentially, that means that we don't own the earth, that we're simply taking care of it for the next generation. Thank you for hanging out with me and listening to my presentation on Sequoyah.